Paul Case here, cutting and busting a little wood, springtime wood. Got some customers that like to buy theirs in the spring and through the summer, so it's seasoned out like they like it. I sell all my wood. I advertise it's green. Sometimes there'll be some of it's a little more seasoned, but I want to look at this Halverson. I got thinking about this while I was working up some of this wood earlier, and I wanted to show you some ways that you can tell a Halverson wood processor, or any wood processor on some of these, has had some use. This is I bought it in the fall of 2018, and this is 2023 spring, so it's 4.5 years old or a little more than that, and it's showing some wear. And just as a testimony to this thing, it has a hydraulic leak. I had a issue with the valve bodies right off the start. I had to send one valve back to even get it to run when I first got it out of the box, but they helped me get that sorted out. And I have a hydraulic leak that's happening on it, and I think it's in the valve bodies. I just need to change the O-rings and see if that helps and go from there. This machine has cut and busted between 150 rick of wood when I started, and this year it has cut and busted over 250 ricks of wood. And when we call it a rick around here, it's a stack of whatever length, 4 foot tall and 8 foot long. Some people call it a half a cord. Some people call it a third of a cord. I don't get into the cord argument. Matter of fact, I don't even sell it by the rick, sell it by the truckload. All the paint pretty much has gone off the tray on the front end of it. There's a little bit yet back here on the back end. These feet the same way. Pick up every log and roll it on there with them. The ends of them's got some scarring. All that's just superficial stuff. Paint wore off of the jaws on that. You can see it sparkling in the sunlight, that fresh metal. Down here, got them rods all nice and shiny. I cut a lot of gnarly wood. We have a lot of oak. We cut a lot of oak and hickory here, and that's a lot of what I started off cutting was stuff that was small and limby, so it'd have a bunch of big knots in it, and I broke that one side of that deal right away and bent it. I've welded it back a couple times. Those are pretty important, that deal there with all the holes in it and the one on this side, because they keep your piece of wood going into the wedge straight. I did break the wedge on this, and part of the reasoning behind that is all of the gnarly wood I cut, and you can see that piece stuck on there right now. It's stuff like that bends that wedge, and their wedge is like made out of 5/8 or 3/4 steel, and it was only like, I can't remember, it was 8 or 10 inches. I think it was just 8 inches deep and pinned in there. If you look really close, you can see the pin down there that holds it in. And when I broke it, it was going to cost me $500 to get another one just like it. And I thought, you know, I don't want another one just like it. I want one better. I want one that'll last. And I had tried to weld that one back, and it was tempered steel to where when you'd weld it, it would last 4 or 5 busts, and then it'd just break right off. And so I probably could have took it somewhere and had it welded, but at that point I was like, let's do something that I can fix. So I spent $71, I think it was, on those 2 pieces of metal, had them sheared to the right size, and I cut this notch in it. This does have a piece that goes down in there and pins, and then I welded it across the top on both sides and then down the back. And that thing flexes some. It's 1/2 inch. I think it's 1/2 inch, maybe been 5/8. But anyway, I sharpened those and put that on there so I could get to going again. That busted when I was using it, of course, and I needed it. I did change the saw motor last year. I was really surprised. Called Halverson, told him what trouble I was having. We identified it right away. Told me it probably was a saw motor. And I said, get me one coming this way. I got that all took apart and found out it was the saw motor that was my problem. And I think it took 2 days, and I had it in the mail. And it was the right one, the right part, and bolted right on. This thing does use a lot of bar and chain oil. I've always thought it used too much, but it's fixed to where when you hit the end of a cylinder, it oils it. And so it does use a bunch of it. Here's some evidence that it uses a bunch of it. I've only been sawing in this barn since late last summer. And it's got little specks of that. Because it uses so much, I use motor oil through it. But this machine has done real good for a long time. I'm pretty happy with it. New ones have went up in value, of course. So this one probably would almost bring what I gave for it when I bought it. I bought their wiring kit because my skid steer does not have the wiring for running extra stuff. My other one does, this one does not. And it comes apart right there. I had some trouble with their little micro switches. And so I built me this bracket to go over here and changed it over to being, instead of just being all push button switches, I've got 2 3-position toggles that are momentary on, and 1 push button switch. And the front one goes side to side and moves the tray back and forth. The push button runs the saw, and the back one runs the clamp up and down. So this thing, it eats the wood pretty good. I have probably got 4 or 5 pieces left to cut up down there. And this is probably getting real close to, this is probably 2.5 loads, maybe 3 loads of wood, maybe 6 rick of wood. And I've cut and busted them all in about 2.5 hours. You can see a lot of it's little stuff. Quite a little bit of this I didn't even bother to split. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a little update on how that looks. And hadn't got to upload videos much lately because I've been kind of down and with my foot. I hurt my foot pretty bad a couple weeks ago, but I've gotten over that. So that's kind of how that's going. I just want to give you an update, tell you a little bit about my Halverson. You can see my stock of bar and chain oil over there. Bar and chain oil in the farm stores around here costing like $15 a gallon. And they gave me that used motor oil free. Free is better than $15 a gallon. So yep, that's how it looks around here today. That's my Halverson HWP120. I know Larry Hoddles of Outdoors with Larry and Robin has one of these, but just judging off of his videos, I don't know if his has seen as much use as mine, or else he repaints all of those shined up spots on it when he's done using it or something. But yeah, you kind of figure that up. Probably have run 800 ricks of wood over this, something like that. So, and of that, very few of those pieces I've had to touch. Very few. I will throw one thing else in this. I've been on this concrete pad since last summer sometime, and I really like it because I don't get to digging in the dirt and get all that in there. I don't handle any of this stuff. I pick it up with this rock bucket, shake all the sawdust and stuff that'll fall out of it out, load it in a truck, and dump it out for people when I get there. Well, I came across this bucket. It's a case skid steer bucket. It's only 5 foot wide, I think. But I think it'll hold about as much as what my rock bucket will. Of course, you can see it's rusted out, but I think I'm gonna cut me out some big holes in this thing and start using it to load wood with. See if I can't sift that junk out of that wood with it. Bought that off of a local farm store's website. I looked through and see what the used stuff is they have, and I paid 148 bucks for that skid steer bucket. It's got some holes in it, but go buy a skid steer backing plate. They're 100 bucks, so thought I couldn't go wrong. I actually thought I was going to do something else with it. I was going to fix the rust on it and put a grapple on that bucket, and I've changed my mind. I think I'm just going to cut me some holes in it and use it to load firewoods with instead of my rock bucket. It's wearing the cutting edge on my rock bucket out really, really bad being on this concrete. But I'll just say it this way. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one. We'll talk to you on the next one.